You're listening to Flip Empire, the show committed to helping real estate entrepreneurs who want to build their empire without sacrificing their life. Your success and freedom starts now with your host, Alex Pardo.
My friend, I want to come to you on today's podcast episode 603, very open, honest, and humble, as I feel I do on every single podcast episode I've done. And I'm doing this in an effort to really connect with you. And I'm hoping that what I share with you, maybe there's some crossover in your life and business. If you listen to episode 602, I want to kind of build and expand on that. And if you haven't listened to it, as soon as you're done with this one, I want to encourage you to plug into that one. You know, I feel like there's so many, 600 now and 3 episodes in, there's so many valuable resources and content and ideas that can spark inspiration and that can lead you towards wherever it is that you want to go, whatever it is that you want to accomplish. That's always been the goal and aim of this particular podcast, is just to open up, be very honest and direct with you, share with you life experiences, share with you business experiences. I don't proclaim to be the best at anything, but what I can tell you that I proclaim is that I'm always going to give you my all, and I'm always going to be very honest with you. So along those lines, you know, I've been very introspective over the course of the last 2-3 weeks. And really what this stems from is I'm at a point now where a season, as some might say, where I have a lot of different things going on, different businesses. My wife and I are in the middle of rehabbing a house, and it's a full blown rehab, and it's much more elaborate than we anticipated it was going to be. And just a lot of stuff going on, and most of it's all positive, by the way. But I also want to share with you that I'm looking for some direction with regards to the Flip Empire show. The word reimagine is something that continues to come up for me over and over again. I shared with you on the last episode how I'm reading the book Who Not How, and I'm really challenging myself to ask how and what questions after I first asked the who question. And as I think about the Flip Empire show, as I think about the storage business, as I think about Ascend, as I think about some different things I have going on with some different ventures, e-com, etc. I'm looking at my time, and I'm looking at the input versus the output. I'm looking at what gives me, fuels me, provides me energy versus the things that are sucking and taking away energy. And that's something I really encourage all of you to do, is be aware, take notice, take stock and inventory of the things that are fueling you, giving you energy, and the things that are taking away energy. And I'm so grateful that I feel like I don't have a huge inner circle, but the inner circle I do have is just filled with the right people. So I want to just publicly recognize Steve Cook, Chris Chico, Steve Kavanaugh, Mike Wagner, and several others, right? And I say several loosely, right? Like I said, it's not a huge inner circle, but Armando Cruz, Juan Bernal, people that I've been able to lean on, people that I know are always coming from a place of serving, wanting to help, never coming from a place of judgment. And some of the I've had very just intimate conversations with these people, letting them know just kind of like what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing lately. And like I said, I hope that the tone of this episode is not doom and gloom, because it's not that at all. In fact, it's encouraging. I just don't have all the answers yet. And part of my motivation for wanting to open up to you is I'm looking for honest feedback from you as it relates to the Flip Empire show. When I evaluate everything going on right now from a business perspective, and I'm someone who's been I keep pretty tight boundaries for the most part around my hours worked. You know, I'm not somebody out there, quote unquote, hustling, 70, 80-hour weeks. Sometimes I don't even hustle 40-hour weeks. I don't put a whole lot of stock and emphasis on the time spent, but the quality of those impact hours, right? As they would allude to it as John Soforic, I think is the author's name in the book, The Wealthy Gardener. He talks about the impact hours. That's what matters. I think about the money that people boast about, flex about, brag about on social media. And most of the time it's revenue. It's not what matters. What matters is net income. What are you keeping? Same thing with the time that you're spending on a day-to-day basis. Are you working 50, 60, 70-hour weeks, but you have low impact hours? Or are you working less hours, high impact hours? Or is there a hybrid? There's no right or wrong. You have to figure out what works for you. But when I think about the input versus the output, what gives me energy versus what takes energy, the podcast was something that used to give me a ton of energy. And don't get me wrong, it still does. I get to do this. But if I'm being honest with you, sometimes it feels like I have to, because I've been consistent for almost 6 years now. June 2016 is when I published episode 1 of the Flip Empire show. And I want to just take a moment to thank all the just amazing people I've had an opportunity to work with. And this sounds like a retirement speech, but that's not what it is at all. But more what it is me wanting to reimagine what this show looks like. I want to get feedback from you on how I can gain back some of my time as it relates to reducing either the frequency of the podcast, the time spent on the podcast. And I have an amazing team that just does a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to producing and publishing. And I really just focus on creating the content, interviewing the right people, and just speaking to you from the heart as I'm doing right now. So I'd love feedback from you on how I can best serve you, and the direction of this show that continues to grow month over month, and just blows me away. I'm extremely humbled by it, while at the same time focusing more on the impact hours, not the fact that every Monday and Thursday there's a show that's going to get released and published, which is what you're used to for almost 6 years now, consistently without fail, every single week for the last, what do we got, 52 weeks times almost 6 years, so over 300 weeks or so, 2 shows have come out. And lately that's been, if I'm being just brutally honest with you, and some might say you're nuts for coming on your own podcast and talking about this, and to that I say I don't care, because this show is for you, but I need to be myself, and I got to be honest. And lately it has felt more like I have to do, and I don't mean that in a bad way, right? I still choose to do this, and I get to do this, but after almost 6 years of doing it, and for the most part keeping the same format, although you've seen on the Monday masterclass, you've seen and heard more of me versus me interviewing, and that's because I've had things to share with you, and because it's just been easier to, on my schedule, based on my time blocks, hop on the microphone and share my thoughts. But I wonder if I could be serving you at a higher level, and I'm not sure what that looks like. And I've considered everything from reducing it to 1 show per week. I've considered maybe alternating 2-1, 2-1. Maybe 1 week do 2 shows, the next week do 1. I've considered getting bringing on, like, really taking the time to find the right person that could add even more value than I can add. And I'm in the process of going through an exercise to just get clear on if I was to go that route, if I, in my heart of hearts, felt that I could serve you at a higher level by bringing somebody else on to not just provide more value, speak from the heart, somebody who's a go-giver, who is here to give an impact, not here to take and monetize per se. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that, to me, that comes secondary, not primary. Is to get clear on who that person looks like, and if that's even the right direction, so that the show can continue to grow. I can continue to serve at the highest level possible, but so that I could focus on the storage business, I could focus on Ascend, I could focus on, just some of the things that continue to give me energy, and some of the things that are more aligned with my vision long term. This is still a part of that. Again, don't hear what I'm not saying. This is still a part of giving and serving and impacting, is at the core and the heart of what I want to do. I'm not sure. Is it the Flip Empire show? Is it this podcast? Is it a different platform? I encourage you, again, to ask who, not what or how. And I've been doing that now for a couple of months, and I've had the ability to just work and connect with some awesome people that are really, really good. If you haven't noticed, or if we're not connected on social media, I've been putting out more things on YouTube and TikTok, and you'll soon start to see within the next coming weeks more reels on Instagram and things of that nature. Those are things that I don't want to have to worry about the mechanics of doing those things. I don't feel like that's a good use of my time. And so I found the right person that can take the content I'm sharing here and multiply it and expand it so that I can just continue to build on this one-to-many platform that I feel God's given me. And so I'm in the process of just reimagining what this podcast, if the podcast needs to change, if so, what does that look like? Maybe it doesn't need to change, and it's and this is the best way I can serve you. Again, I'm not. I come to you just very open and honest by sharing that I don't have all these answers, and that's okay. One of the things I want you to know is that you might be in a place right now where you're going through a particular challenge. You're questioning the direction you're going in. Maybe you don't have a direction, and you're lost, kind of like a ship without a rudder. It's okay to be in that position. The question then becomes, what who do you need to connect with to help you find that direction, that purpose, your cause, your passion, whether it's generating more money, whether it's a marketing issue, whether it's a people issue, relationship, health, whatever it is. It's okay that you don't have the answers, but don't worry about steps 3, 4, 5, and 6. Worry about steps 1 and 2. And this is something that I'm hoping my transparency inspires you in some way to be okay with the fact that you might not have all the answers. In fact, as illustration of the fact that I'm thinking this show may need to change, or I might need to pivot in some way or reimagine what this looks like.